Now, Paul, we all know that social media is the new buzzword. It's a kind of new something in the internet. But for a lot of accountants, the kind of Twitter, Facebook type world is a new world to them. And a lot of people are sceptical, perhaps myself included, that an accountant spending their time on the social media is really going to deliver any returns. Or is it just people chatting about what they had for breakfast but not really doing very much? What would you say to that? Am I being ignorant, or have I hit the nail on the head?
Yeah, obviously it's a common misconception. I mean, there are people on there that do talk about what they have for breakfast, but it's used a lot in the professional world. And it goes back to a little bit what we said before about the content that you're creating. It's a fantastic medium for sharing that content. And once you've shared the content, if the content is good, everybody else will share it for you. And it'll just spread the message further about your expertise, if you like. So, I mean, yes, Facebook might not be the ideal platform for an accountant, but if we look at things like LinkedIn definitely is. Twitter, there's a lot of ways of sharing information on Twitter, and a lot of ways of gaining information as well.
So we're saying it might not be a waste of time, maybe I'm a little ignorant about it. So you mentioned LinkedIn.
Yeah.
So let's start with LinkedIn. How would an accountant go about using LinkedIn to promote their practice?
Yeah. Well, LinkedIn, again, it's a network of professionals. So straight away, people, if they go on there, they're on there to do business. Now, they're connecting with people that they've met, they're connecting with people that they want to meet, they maybe aspire to meet, if you like. And you can share your articles again, you can share your content on there, you can position yourself as an expert, you can get recommendations on there, again, which just gives that sort of social proof that people trust you, people know you and like you, if you like. So it just takes your credibility to the next level with people who may not have met you yet.
So you're saying it's making the accountant look more friendly and more credible.
Yeah.
Is there a danger that they'll look the opposite of that if they do it wrong? Because I'd imagine there's a lot of lingo involved, and particularly the Twitter and the Facebook, there's certain catchphrases like trending, which I'm not quite sure I know what it means. But how do you not look stupid but still join the conversation? Because I think that's a big challenge.
I think, again, you just struck it there when you said conversation. There's a lot of people who go on there and just promote, and that's the wrong way to do it.
Okay.
You know, if you just go on there and try and get involved in the conversation and provide value to people, and you know, like we said before, if we create articles and blogs and things like that, you know, if somebody's asking a question and your article can answer that question, then go on there. You don't have many characters if you're on Twitter, so go on there and just sort of mention it and then point them to your article. Now, if you're pointing them to a product, straight away they're just going to be turned off by that. But if you're pointing them to something that's valuable to them, that's just going to add to your credibility.
So it's not a case of saying, please let me do your tax return. It's using the reports we've talked about are you using these 10 tax saving tactics?
That's right, yes.
I can see that. So you do that. You've mentioned Twitter, you've mentioned LinkedIn. There's a lot more of these I've heard of. I don't know how good they are, or what else should an accountant be using? Because I imagine you could spend all day on this sort of social media. Are there some that you should be using, some that you shouldn't be using? How does it pan out?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like we said Facebook, maybe not the ideal one for accountants. There are uses. Certainly, there are ways accountants can use Facebook. First ones off the top of my head would be the Google Places, which is part of Google Plus now. But that, I mean, to help people find your accountancy practice is ideal. It puts all the information about your practice up there. A lot of people search on their mobile phones now. If they find your Google Places listing, they can click straight into the map and get directions to find where you are. That sort of thing brings you up and certainly adds a bit of sort of local search functionality, if you like. YouTube is one of the big ones. A lot of accountants may be a bit shy of getting behind the camera.
Yes.
But definitely, you know, again, that's just building credibility. And YouTube is growing very, very fast. Second largest search engine in the world. And there's quite often more conversions come from YouTube traffic than there are come from Google traffic.
Okay. So we're saying we've already talked about lots of people searching on Google, and I know people do that.
Yeah.
You type anything into Google. But but you're saying they're also doing it on YouTube, which is the sort of video website.
Yeah.
So what would we do for an accountant? Is that someone looking for an accountant again in Newcastle, or someone looking for problems with their tax return, or what? How does that work?
Yeah, I mean, in general, they're not necessarily searching for an accountancy service in Newcastle, but they are looking for an expert.
Mm-hmm.
So they will be looking for things like you said, questions there,
Mm-hmm.
help with their tax return,
Mm-hmm.
those sort of things. And again, you're giving away information there, but you're positioning yourself as the expert.
Mm-hmm. And the whole purpose, isn't it, that when people look for help,
Yeah.
they're actually looking for someone to give them a little bit of information so they can then become a client.
That's right.
Like you said, a lot of accountants will be still worried about getting behind the camera.
Yeah.
What's the antidote to that? Do they always have to appear in the video, or can someone else do it? What's the different styles? So I've seen all sorts of videos,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't know if some of them are the right way to do it or the wrong way to do it. What would your advice be?
Certainly, I mean, you can do presentations. You could also look at putting someone else from the practice involved who's maybe a little bit more outgoing and happy to talk. But it doesn't have to be you every time. It doesn't have to be the accountant, the owner of the business. But talking over a presentation,
Mm-hmm.
that's perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Walking somebody through the tax return, on the screen, if you
Mhm.
like. Again, that ideal, because that's giving them the information that they want,
Mm-hmm.
but all the time it's sort of branded with your company,
Mm-hmm.
your name, you're getting the credibility.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. And I imagine this could take up a lot of your time doing this sort of stuff. So what would your advice be? Is it something that the partner should do? Is it something that maybe one of the juniors, maybe a younger person in the team who's a bit more up with Facebook and all the rest of it, they should do it? Or are they better outsourcing it? What's the right solution?
Yeah, again, I mean, it is time consuming, and that's something that the accountants certainly don't have a lot of. So there are people who do use a junior in the office.
Mm-hmm.
I would say if you're going to do that, you're going to need to be quite strict. You're going to need to put a policy in place. Be very careful on that. Training required, or of course you can outsource it
Mm-hmm.
and have somebody else manage it for you, and arrange to sort of film videos and things like that,
Mhm.
and release things at the right times.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you, Paul.
Mm-hmm.